What is going on, beautiful people? So currently I am stood in front of the Kribensis tank. Now, if you remember a while back, by the way, it looks an absolute steak, more on that in a minute. A while back they had babies, and when they did, I just stopped doing stuff to the tank. I didn't want to risk upsetting the parents and creating or causing them to eat the babies. And I'm so glad I did that, because now the babies are at a size where they're just doing so good. I don't think they can be eaten now. I mean, I suppose they technically could, but not like in one gulp. They are doing so good. The tank looks an absolute steak, but that's okay. It takes seconds to clean up. It's just surface algae. So yeah, here's how we're sitting. The moss looks actually really good. Do you remember it died off? I had to replant it, re-stick it all on again. Growing back absolutely lovely. The Java phone at the back, again, doing great. But we've got all this sort of algae on the side. We've got algae in the sand. It could be a little bit of cyano, I'm not sure. It's all a bit weird, but there's the babies. Look at you. Look at you, you're massive. See, there's loads of them as well. They're all surviving absolutely fine. They're all over the place. So for size-wise, like, they're nowhere near like babies anymore. They're a couple of months old, actually. We get this all cleaned up, we can get a better look at them and see how the tank's doing. It's really simple to do. All we need to do is switch off the filter first of all, wipe down all the sides, and then just this surface scum on the sand will actually come up in clumps. So you just get a pipe and suck it off, and it just all comes up together, and it should be very easy to clean. I'll give the moss a little trim up as well. There we go, back in the game. Fortunately, all of that was just loose surface stuff. Like, when you get that stubborn algae, it can be such a pain, but all of that just wiped off so easy, and now we're looking great again. Look, now you can see all the babies. They're everywhere, aren't they? Dotted about the place, and they're getting to a good size as well now. Look at him. Oh, he's just trying to eat a bit of the moss that I just cut off. It's quite funny, depending on what they've eaten, depends on what their colour their belly is. So look, they've all got sort of green bellies at the moment because they've been pecking at all the stuff we've just cleaned off. But most of the food that I feed this guy ends up orange, so their bellies are normally orange, but yeah, it's quite weird seeing them all sort of a luminous green. So the idea originally was to take them out of this tank when they got big enough, put them in a separate one to ensure their survival, but it's all going really good. I don't need to take them out, just leave them. Dad comes out often. I still haven't seen Mum for ages, but this happened the last time we had babies. I'm pretty sure she goes back in to start again with even more. Like a breeding machine. But anyway, I'm so happy that this is going well. When these guys get big enough, I'll like pick the best ones and then take some back to the shop and give them to them, let them sell them on. Yeah, awesome. Feels quite good to be able to give fish back to the shop that I've bred myself. Look, they're all coming forward now. I think they think I'm feeding them. They're not scared, look. Hello. So the Discus tank is doing so well, guys. I'm really pleased with the progress on this. I did have a problem with the plants weren't growing, and I registered 0 nitrates on my water testing. Since then, I've been dosing so much more, and I also stuck a load of root tabs in. Everything's running so smoothly. Click subscribe. So I'm removing dead leaves from the background area. These are Echinodorus leaves, which is Amazon sword. Much easier to say Amazon sword. I don't know why they have all these complicated names. Now, a couple of weeks ago, these leaves were looking awful. They were just covered in like algae and just looking nasty. Some of them are incredibly rough. But you can see here we've got loads and loads of new growth. This is because I added a ton of root tabs into the substrate system. And then within like a week, I started noticing a ton of new growth. Look at how vibrant and green it is. Absolutely love it. But it's really important that we remove the dead leaves, because otherwise they'll just sit back there hidden and they'll just keep releasing organic matter into the water column. We don't want this, because as it breaks down, it's just going to cause algae from excess nutrients. And as you can see, we've removed quite a lot of leaves, and I've decided to throw them on the floor for dramatic effect. But don't worry, this hacking back will actually cause even more growth. It's going to look so good in no time at all. So next up, it's time to trim the Hydrocotyle Japan. This stuff can grow pretty fast, especially now we've got those nutrients in. It was the main plant telling me that something wasn't right because it should grow a lot faster than it was, and I was thinking, what's going on here? And that's when I started testing the water for nitrate levels because I just knew something was up. But as you can see here now, look at it, it's looking great. To start with, I'm just gonna hack off some of the like straggly bits. Eventually, as this starts to get a lot bigger, I'll have to take out big sections of it and replant it down lower again, or, you know, using other scapes. Ah yes, the Ludwigia. So we've got like 3 different kinds of so hard to say that fast. 3 kinds of Ludwigia in this tank. We've got Ludwigia granulosa, which is the big one at the back that's red. Then we've got Ludwigia palustre super red, which is obviously the one at the bottom that's really red. And then the main one I'm hacking up at the moment, it's got like a yellowy sort of orange tint to it, is Ludwigia repens. Now these plants grow pretty easy, to be honest, and can give a really good sort of added variety to the tank. I always find that using Ludwigia is a great way to sort of split up plant groups. You know, some plants are just really green no matter what their shape, and this can be a really good way of separating everything. So this is Ludwigia granulosa, at least that's, I think, how you spell it. Anyway, I love this plant. It's massive impact. It's got nice big leaves, easy to grow as well. But if you look at where I'm actually cutting it, down at the base of the stem, you can see that the leaves look really sort of damaged and unhealthy. And then at the top part of the plant, it's looking really good. Literally, you can see the point where I started adding nutrients. So one of the mistakes I've recently realised that I've been making for quite a while is trying to keep nutrients too low in the substrate. My thinking was that if I had high nutrients in the substrate, then I'd get more algae, which isn't actually the case because the nutrients have to be sort of floating in the water column to cause the algae. It's actually making me want to redo all of my tanks. Now I'm seeing how good this one's going. But that's fine, as you guys know, I redo them regularly anyway, so yeah, lessons learned. Next up, we need to replace some of the water of all the sort of floating algae and stuff we've disturbed from the substrate. This time I'm opting for about 20% water change, don't need to do any more than that. Now many of you ask what the thing is that I'm using to take the water out. So basically at the end is a non-return valve with a little sort of filtery thing over the top so I don't suck up any fish. That pipe then runs to a pump that sits near my sink. Now the outlet for that pump is then plumbed into the sink waste area, and I can switch the pump on wirelessly using my phone because there's a smart plug for it. It's always on, and then I turn it on and off using a smart plug. It's just a really good and quick way of changing water when you've got this many tanks. Right guys, I've got some terrible news. Ember, my last remaining fancy goldfish, he's gone. So over the last few days, I've been coming in, it's not looked right, and I noticed that, I might have mentioned to you guys before, on his pelvic fin, he had a hernia. Now he's had it for over a year, and it remains sort of similar size, but it's been getting bigger and bigger recently. I came in this morning and it burst, come right out and burst. You could basically see the insides. It was horrible, not a nice sight. He couldn't sort of swim as a result. There was blood in the tank, the lot, and I just decided there and then I can't do nothing about that, can I? I can't fix that. He had to be put to sleep. I used the clove oil method. I always have clove oil on hand now in case it's needed. Sorry, my voice is a bit funny. Yeah, it gutted because last remaining one of my fancy goldfish. I won't be getting fancy goldfish again, guys. It's not for me. Way too many issues. Like this one had to be related to the internal organs pushing out through like something. I don't know. It's very weird. I mean, technically Ember is an oranda, which is not a natural shape for a fish, is it? So it tried to bunch up inside, I guess, and come out of that hernia that he developed a year ago. I don't know. I'm not that interested in getting into the whole political debate of like fancy goldfish or anything. All I know is I'm done with fancy goldfish now. You know, Ember was awesome fish as well, and he was doing very well for a good year with this problem, but eventually it got too much. I've got photos, I've got video of it, but I don't want to show it. It's just not nice. You guys don't need to see something as gross as that. Yeah, I'm done with fancy goldfish basically. So here's Ember's tank now. I'm gonna break it down because it's just horrible to look at. Like, it was Ember's tank, need to start again with a different one. I suppose one good thing is that next to Ember's tank down there, obviously, we've got all the babies as well. So, you know, one sort of life stops and another continues. Doesn't make it any like better, of course, but at least we've got a lot of new life being created as well. And you know, Ember was with me for nearly 2 years in the end. 2 years, 1 year with that problem. He did all right, bless him, he did all right. Rest in peace, little buddy. So we're now over at my Betta Fish Phantoms pad. It is looking good. So the idea of this tank when I started was just a few plants. Like, I was trying to keep it to 2. And in the end, I think I went with like 5, including the floating plants. So yeah, I didn't achieve the goal, but I don't care. It still looks good, doesn't it? So every now and again, a tank gets off to a flyer. This one is doing absolutely great. All the plants are growing, and just look at that limnophila on the right there. It's nearly touching the surface. Also, the floating plants, well, I've had to remove a whole section of it about 3 times already. They're just going crazy, but really helping with the start of this tank. We have got a little bit of thread algae going on. Now, because it's such a new start, and also there's no cleanup crew at all in here, it's just the Betta fish, I'm happy just to let that slide for the minute. It's under control, it's not getting any more, so I'm happy with that. I may add in a cleanup crew at some point because I think, if I remember rightly, Phantom's absolutely fine with shrimp, like a decent size Amano shrimp, absolutely fine. So I might be able to put some of those in with them as well.